Hi everyone, hope you are always doing well. Today I'm gonna talk about a very important topic in anti-money laundering automated system, and this topic is the data flow. So let's give it a go. Okay, first I'm gonna talk about AML system data flow, how data is being or is flowing from the source to the destination, from the source system, the bank system, for example, to the portal or to the UI, the AML UI system. Second, I'll talk about ETL and NGP. These are the main processes that are being used to process data in order to produce the entities needed to comply, or the output needed to comply with the regulations. All right. Third, I'll talk about AML user interface main entities, and finally I'll talk about the main activities that are being performed on the entities in the AML system. Okay, so how data is being transformed or is being loaded from the core system, from the bank core system to the AML system or the AML user interface. Okay, here is the bank system or the banking system. The system is the one being used by the ATM machines, by the mobile banking services, and by the teller employees or the telling stuff in the bank. Okay, so this is the say the input channel for the data. We do some ETL tasks, and ETL is an abbreviation for the extract, transform, and load. Actually is a set of processes of cleaning and duplicate removing from the data in order to produce clean data that's being used later to produce the needed output. Okay, alright, so the ETL process load the data to a database called landing database. After that, another ETL process, but this time is more complex, with a lot of conditions and rules being applied to the data here, and sometimes we say split data to different tables. Okay, in order to control the data flow, in order to say remove the whole or the old duplicates and the all unneeded data that are in the landing database. Okay, right, so now we have the data after performing the second ETL process. Yeah, actually sometimes this being used MCP in some systems like SAS, which is master control process. At the end of the day, it is just an ETL process. Okay, there are many tools being used here, like Oracle DI, SAS DI, Visual Studio, and a lot of data loading tools. Okay, it depends on the system actually. It depends on the the company, the enterprise, the developer who or which is developing the system, the AML system. Okay, now we have the data in another database called core database, which is the AML core database actually, or the database being used by the NGP, and NGP is notification generation process. Okay, the process applies actually some rules on the data stored here. So if a match is found. So for example, if I'm gonna apply some rule on a certain table, columns, certain columns stored in a certain table here, if I found matches or matching, I'll generate notification, and I'll generate it and throw it or output it here in the AML portal or the AML system. Okay, so this is just a demonstration of how data is being transmitted or loaded from the core system to the AML system, from the bank system to the AML portal or the AML user interface. Okay, all right. So now what are the main entities we can find in the user interface system or the AML user interface? Okay, we can find alerts or notifications. These are the outputs actually that's produced from applying the rules or the conditions by the NGP on the core database. All right, we can find cases, and cases actually are being generated or created from alerts when we find, I mean, as a compliance team in the bank or in the financial institute, when we find any suspicious activities from the alerts, when we investigate and find some suspicious activities, we go and create case. All right, and from the case we create reports, and these reports are the needed, actually are the main or say the most important thing. We look for AML system, or we adopt AML system, or we buy the system in order to create or generate reports. And these reports are sometimes the regulatory reports by the financial main controller or the central, say the central unit or the central bank in the country, or by international, by the UN, for example, by international organizations. So just two examples of the reports. We have STR reports. Actually, STR and SAR are being generated in other systems, but sometimes we generate them from the cases actually. Okay, STR is suspicious transaction report, and SAR is suspicious activity report. We're gonna talk about them later. All right. So the main activities, what can we do to the entities? For example, if we have alert or a case or a report, what can we do for this entity? We can suppress, and we suppress whenever we found that there was just it was a false positive status or situation. Okay, we suppress, that means we whitelist this entity, or we say the transaction or the customer who made this transaction is not suspected, so no need to generate notifications for this customer for a certain period. It must be actually for a certain period, because if you suppress forever, it's highly probable, and it's likely to generate, I mean, for the customer, for example, to do some suspicious transactions or some suspicious activities, I need to track. Okay, so as a compliance member or a compliance officer, you need to suppress for a certain period. Do not suppress forever. All right. Second, we can route. Okay, we can just transform or move the ownership of the entity from a user, from an officer, for example, to another. All right. We can add to case. That means we found some suspicious activity and we need to create a case from the alert, for example, or from the notification. All right. We can close after, for example, we did our all investigations, and we found either there was a false positive, or we created a case and a report and we need to close. Okay, and we can claim, actually, if I found an entity with no owner, I can own it, I can claim its ownership, I can bring it to my ownership as a compliance officer or a compliance manager or a member in the compliance team. Okay, so I hope I explained the data flow. Now it's clear for you.